And this is another um, exchange in the debate. So these are the words from Hillary. I've looked at the legislation that Senator Sanders has proposed, and basically he does eliminate the Affordable Care Act, eliminates private insurance, eliminates Medicare, eliminates Medicaid, Tricare, Children's Health Insurance Program, puts it all together in a big program which he then hands over to the states to administer. I have to tell you, I would not want, if I lived in Iowa, Terry Branstad administering my health care. I think as Democrats, we ought to proudly support the Affordable Health Care Act, improve it, and make it the model that we know it can be. Now, what am I doing here? What I'm drawing attention to is the absolute demagoguery that Clinton has employed throughout the campaign. As the campaign winds down, I think that that's something that I may try to focus a little bit more on, is to point out situations where she's essentially being dishonest, right? So she's claiming that Bernie Sanders' plan will prevent an expansion of Medicare because the states will interfere. And what she's essentially counting on is the idea that you don't understand that that's the problem with the Affordable Care Act, is that it's one of the reasons that it's not universal is because the states are interfering. Okay? And I want to provide Sanders' response here. Because he was able to see what she's doing immediately, right? He says that we don't want to eliminate Medicare, and he doesn't. We expand Medicare to all people, right? So that's the idea of a universal program, is you wouldn't have specialized programs for different groups. You would just have a you would have a healthcare program for everybody, right? Which is not to say there wouldn't be specific programs for specific groups, right? But broadly speaking, you wouldn't need specific programs for specific groups. You would just have one program, and that would cost a lot less because it would be a lot more efficient, right? You know, it's not rocket science. You should be able to see that clearly, right? Instead of having 10 programs that are all doing the same thing, you have one program, right? But I mean, functionally speaking, you wouldn't really eliminate, for example, the Children's Health Insurance Program. What you would do is you would merge it. So the people that work in the Children's Health Insurance Program today would become subsidiaries of a larger Medicare program, right? But the key thing that I want to draw attention to is the following part of his response. And we will not, under this proposal, have a situation that we have right now with the Affordable Care Act, where we've got states like South Carolina and many other Republican states, red states, that because of their right-wing political ideology are denying millions of people the expansion of Medicaid that was passed in the Affordable Care Act. Right? And this is the amazing demagoguery that she's been pulling off with almost no criticism. You don't really even get criticism of this from, with the left-wing media. They don't really take her to task for this. And I'm using the word demagogue very consciously because this is the textbook definition of demagoguery. She supports a program that is not working because of interference by states. And then she accuses a solution to that problem as failing for the precise reason that what she's supporting is failing. And that's not... An argument like that does not come out of an honest disagreement. Okay? You don't construct an argument like that if you're merely misinformed. You only construct an argument like that if you're intending to mislead. Okay? If you know that the Affordable Care Act has deep flaws in its ability to be universal, because of the ability for states to opt out. And you're trying to distract from that. Okay? Now, if this was some stupid issue that nobody really cares about, that would be politicking, and that's what politicians do, and that's fine. This is healthcare, you know? And to put an argument like this down about healthcare is kind of evil, right? There's lots of examples of this. I'm going to see how many of them I can find, like I say, but just the demagoguery is unreal. And I mean, I think that it is hurting her in some respect, right? Because people like me are looking at this and they're just banging their head against the wall, right? But for the people that are not able to see through it, aren't able to work through it, and ultimately don't fully understand what she's saying, that are just operating on trust, right? It's effective, as all politicking can be, and it's like I say, if you have the information necessary to disentangle what she's actually doing and deconstruct this as a tactic, it's because of it's about healthcare. It's really, really slimy. Okay, it's gross, and it's toxic, really. And a lot of people are going to walk away from that with that perspective, that this woman is toxic and really can't be supported. I think at this point, I'm not really attempting to reach an audience of voters. I think I'm more attempting to reach an audience of superdelegates and kind of pointing this out. She might think she's real smart with this argument. It was the same thing with the Russians, right? She thought she was so smart she tricked the Russians. Yeah. Look at the consequences, right? And why are you thinking like that? And she's standing on stage in Iowa thinking she's so smart. She tricked the peasants. She probably did trick a few of them. But the overwhelming perspective is, this is so toxic. You're actually, honestly claiming that somebody that wants to put a universal healthcare system in is going to run into problems with administrations through the state. Okay, when you know, okay, because that is the reason she did this argument the way she did it, because she knows that Obamacare is fundamentally flawed because it gives the states the ability to overpower it, right? Sanders responded the way he needed to, but it's the power of demagoguery, is that you don't get through to everybody, right? People trust you and they end up tricked. It's toxic, that's my point. And it really needs to be thought about a little bit more carefully, right? This, oh, I'm so smart, I fooled the peasants bit, it's going to catch up to her, if it hasn't already.